All right, now you have deployed your first smart contract. You know what is in the compile tab. You have the right compiler, which is the same as in the Pragma line. You have auto-compile on, and we ran our transaction in the deploy and run transaction tab on the JavaScript VM. Now, all of this is fine, but we didn't change anything. We didn't do anything with our smart contract. We just deployed a smart contract. And in this video, I want to go and actually change that string to something we can input as a user after the smart contract is deployed, of course. So I'm going to revert this to hello world, and we are going to add an additional function over here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Function. Every function starts with the keyword function, and then we say update our string. This one will get one argument that is another string, and in this case it's important to add the memory location. More on that a little bit later. And we are having an updated string. I like to make these underscores there that you maybe have seen in some of the code that is out there. And the reason for that is if you're interacting with outside JavaScript, then it becomes a distinct difference between getting writing a variable or reading a variable from Solidity to the outside world with the underscore, then directly inside JavaScript. That is just my style. I think there is a style guide for this, and I don't think it doesn't mention anything about underscores or so. Okay, anyway, so you can name this like a variable. You have of the type string. It's strictly typed, and you even have to give it a location, which in this case is a memory location, which just means that it is our working horse, cheap memory that this variable resides in. Now, we also have to give it a visibility. More on that again later on when we are writing the first project. In this case, it is public. It is not going to return anything because inside Solidity, you cannot really return anything to the outside world. You need the events for that. Also, we are going to talk about this more in depth, and then we are ready to update our string to update string. Great. You see everything still compiles, and when we hit deploy, then we can see here in our instance, we have now two different buttons. One is for the hello world, and the other one is to update our string. That actually requires us an input field. So if you just hit update, it still does it, and then it will override the string with an empty string. And if we can also make this a little bit bigger so it's more clear what is going on here, and then we can just say hello from Earth and then hit transact. And then our string is updated to hello from Earth. Now, again, you can see everything here is with a call against the blockchain node. The blockchain node in this case is the JavaScript environment. So there is no real blockchain node. You're directly interacting with your browser here. And you can also see that there is one thing with a little check mark and the other one with a little call. That's a major difference between a writing transaction, something that would actually cost you money to get mined. It needs to be sent to the transaction pool, then a miner needs to pick it up, and then it gets mined and it gets baked into the blockchain. And a call. A call is a reading transaction. It is still a transaction, but it's virtually free because it's against your blockchain node, and every blockchain node that is participating in the network has the same information. It's basically the whole point of the decentralized part of this decentralized ledger. So everyone has the same kind of information running on his machine. And in your case, you don't need to query any other thing. You basically have a copy of the whole ledger and you can directly look into it, but it's still a transaction. It's just a free of charge. And that's then called a call. If you open it up, you can see that this is has a from address. It goes to a specific address, and has an execution cost. Doesn't really matter because it's a call, but over here with a transaction, you have an execution cost, which is in gas, which is very much like kilowatt hours for electricity, which you then pay with money. The whole idea there is the same. It's an abstraction. More on that a little bit later. And you have data that goes in, data that goes out, logs, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that's the point of this this video here, to tell you a little bit more about how you interact with your smart contracts, how you read and write to a smart contracts, what is the difference between a reading and a writing function. And with this, we can conclude our Solidity Basics and Remix environment section, and we are going into an actual project.